A guy named Zidane won the title. No. Please, Kupo. No. Please, Kupo. Oh, okay. It's literally just a yes or no thing. You know, the classic, but thou must. You have to give her the nut. A kid named Vivi won the title. Sure, I'd like to leave, but I intend to work hard while I'm here. That just leaves the young man over there. I must act natural. Come over here. Go to look over the other side. Ah! He doesn't see, though. Don't look this way. I feel like it's almost kind of a funny subversion that they kind of try the whatchamacallit, like the thing where it's like, you know, it's like you bumble in on someone naked, but he just straight up does not see. And in fact, because of this, we get the scene on this side too. So we get a face of, we get, you know, Steiner's ugly mug over there. That's, I know what it is. The smell of fire and blood. There must have been a huge battle on the other side of that gate. I don't think the war is going to end here. They're too well prepared. Hurry! Burmecia is just ahead. Yeah, so like they don't really go into any like deep detail, but like you do get a little bit more about like you know, the fact that they're well prepared and stuff about from Zidane and stuff if Quinn isn't here, but I mean, you know, it is what it is. Ha 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 ha, hey, it's Lamia. So Lamia's a little they're kind of a weird enemy actually. Mainly because like, so they have two counters they can do, right? They have a 1 in 3 chance to use like a might counter and, you know, all that jazz. Ouch. It's like every time you smack them with anything, there's like a 1 in 3 chance they'll counter with a might spell. They can also counter with cure, but the way they counter with cure is kind of weird. It seems like the base, in a nutshell, they can just randomly counter with cure, but it seems like it's a one-time thing. I'm not entirely sure though, because it's a little like the way they do it is weirdly like complicated, but as far as I can tell, it just amounts to them countering with cure once per fight, because I literally sat here in a fight for like a good like 15 minutes and it never did anything. It never used cure more than once. Do 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 boo 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 boo. They don't counter if you use steel or like other stuff. Weirdly enough, they have a thing in their counter script that specifically says to ignore white magic. So I guess the idea is that they can't counter their own spells, but like I don't think that happens normally anyways. But I mean, I don't know. It's there. Do 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 do. Now we're gonna be kind of stalling this fight because, I mean, obviously I want to see it do its stuff, but I also want to see it see a little interesting thing that can happen. Freaking stupid Vivi. There's the cure counter. As far as I can tell, they can only do this once. Like, I mean, I might be wrong, but like I said, like, it's either I'm wrong or it's possible that it just might take a while, because basically they have, like, I think the cure counter is like a random thing that gets initialized when the fight starts, and after you hit them, I think a certain amount of times, they'll immediately counter with cure, and then it goes back to like 255. Like, for some reason, the max of the number, like, I think it's initialized to any number between 0 and 7. Or like 1 and 8, I think. I forget which one. Either way, you hit them and then their cure counter value goes down. And then once it reaches like 1, they'll counter with cure. And then it goes back to like, I think it either goes down to 0. You know what? It probably goes down to 0. You know what? That makes sense. I'm not sure if it can overflow. I actually have no idea. That's the thing. Because like, so in a nutshell, basically, let me just say this. It starts at, like, when the fight starts, it gets set to a random number between, I believe, 0 to, like, I think it's 0 to 8, or is it, it's 0 to 7, I think. You know, it must be 1 to 8. Aren't you? I don't know. Frick. I don't know enough about how, like, the game's fail-safes work, because that's kind of hard to test that kind of thing, you know what I mean? I just know that it gets set to a random number, and then that random number gets, like, subtracted every time you smack it. And then, you know, once it reaches a certain point, once it gets down to, I think it's 1, it'll counter with cure. You know, and now that I think about it, maybe that is how it works. So maybe it is set to 0 to 8. No, it's probably 0 to 7. My best guess, based on how the way it works, is it's probably 0 to 7. And then when it's at 1, it'll counter the next time you smack it. And then the number goes down to 0 and it can't counter anymore. And I don't think it can underflow, so I don't think it goes up to 255. It just happens to have a failsafe that if for some reason it does overflow, it will get set to 255 and start counting down from that. So maybe if you attack it 255 times after it counters, maybe then it'll do its thing. But, you know, like I said, I don't know enough. I sat in the fight for quite a while, but I don't know. And I'm kind of doing this for a while because as it keeps using might, right, it keeps getting stronger and stronger, right? You can see its entice spell there, you know, the jerk, whatever. The cool thing about its might counter is it has a special thing in its script where, like, so every time it uses might, right, it says gained more attack power, right? It increases its strength. But eventually, you know, like, its strength can only go so high, right? Like, you can see, like, it's already doing a lot of damage, but the strength can only go so high, right? You know, once it gets to a certain point, eventually it'll its, like, strength value kind of doesn't get any higher. I forget what the max is. It's either 99 or 255. I actually think it's maxed out right now, so if we heal Freya, the good thing about having Freya can survive this attack at max strength in the back row, and she has covers, so if someone's like, if Quentin gets attacked, Freya will take the hit, which is kind of nice, and she can live, so it's kind of nice, but you know, it is what it is. I forget what its chance of using Entice is. Every time its turn comes up, it's like a 1 in 4 chance or something. It's always kind of hard to see who it hits, because it, like, the way, like, it angles. Which I always thought was kind of funny. So I believe its strength is maxed out now, so I believe that now it shouldn't say anything? Oh, its strength is now it's maxed out. There you go. Well, Freya's gonna die. Yeah, she isn't surviving anymore, so... Hopefully it lives before... Hopefully we can get it to use Might one more time, because I just want to show off that, like... whenever, like, targets... Whenever it uses Might, right, the... Part of its script tells it to check whether its new strength value is higher than the old one. And if it isn't, then it does not print the message, gain more attack power. Which, there you go, it no longer prints the message, which is, you know, it's not a grand revelation, but it is a cool little detail with its thing that they actually bothered to check that. I mean, at this point, we're kind of boned, so... I mean, we're not boned, but I'm gonna go ahead and reset. Bam, 432. I'm gonna go ahead and reset. And I'm going to meet you at Gizamaluke, because Gizamaluke is really cool. But Gizamaluke is also, you know, another good lesson on... This is kind of the same thing I was talking about back with, like, the moos and the pythons, but... you know... Whatchamacallit? Yeah, there's my save file that I'm playing through without Quina. But it'll also be a good lesson on how the bosses in this game work. Actually, you know what? I don't even need to really... Unless I get an encounter. If I get an encounter here, I'll just cut the encounter, and I'll just meet you at Gizamaluke. But if we don't get an encounter in this screen, then I can just say whatever and just head on in. Damn it! Alright. I'll meet you at the boss. Hey, Gizamaluke. So basically, Gizamaluke's script is pretty simple for the most part. Like, in regards to... Hey, look at that! It's this water attack that we never saw last time somehow. Yeah, you can see that that water attack is pretty strong. Like, that's... Like, Vivi has half damage with the glass armor, so that would have been 180 damage, give or take. And that's why Gizamaluke is so strong at this point, because... Like, you can't, like, you can equip this stuff to reduce the damage, but back row isn't going to help you with that. So, like, that's kind of the scary thing. And basically, in a nutshell, every time you attack Gizamaluke, it's like he checks, when you hit him with something, he checks if it's a physical attack or a magic attack. If it's a physical attack, he has a 50% chance to counter you with Crash. And if it's Vivi's magic attack, so I guess Quenna's too, he has a 50% chance to counter with his Silent Voice counter. That we only saw once and he freaking missed, which was actually kind of hilarious. But yeah, as a kid, this boss was my absolute stone wall. Like, it took, I could not get by him because, like, especially because I want to get his steals, right? And once, the thing with Gizamaluke is that once he gets down to a third of his HP, he starts, his water spell suddenly becomes an all-target water spell, which, as you can imagine, means it gets really freaking strong. Which is kind of the insane thing about this guy. Alright, we're back. Sorry about that. And yeah, Gizamaluke is actually, unlike the Serpians, like, this guy does, like, when I say check for physical, he actually checks for, like, full-on physical attacks. Like, even if I use Lancer or Jump, he counters with Crash. Which is kind of weird. It's kind of weird that the Serpians specifically check for the attack command. I don't know why it's like that. And, well, I mean, I know exactly why it's like that, but, you know. It is what it is. I mean, you can show off Lancer right now. Bam. Does some damage and MP damage. Gizamaluke has like 1,000 MP, so that 16 MP damage is absolutely nothing. But, you know, it is what it is. I mean, the nice thing about Lancer is that since abilities don't check for your row, so even though Freya's in the back row, I can still just use Lancer a couple times to get instant front row damage. And I think Lancer is 1.4 times damage, so it's almost as strong as Jump and comes out instantly. Which is nice. Keep everyone topped off. I want to show off that all water spell, because man, that all water spell is scary. Boom! Critical! Nice! Good damage. Zap him down a little. You can see that even though he's weak to Thunder, right, that he doesn't really do that much damage. And there's the... Is that going to be group? Nope, not yet, because it has to be a third of his health, right? I'll use Lancer and attack Poseidon again. Keep these guys ready to heal. There's another big topic I want to talk about with Gizamaluke, but we'll wait until I'm gonna kill him. You know, I'll show off the water spell and then we'll see him next time. We'll do a second run through of him. Let's show him off. Crash. As you can imagine, this is exactly why having that fourth party member Quenna is so useful. Just for extra potions. Like, this is why he can be so tough. Not only can you, if you forget to equip water stuff, right, he'll obliterate you. And then, not only that, but you have a party member which is completely missable. Like, Quenna is not easy to miss, because those, you know, the marsh is literally in between the grotto and Lindblum. So, like, you have to be going out of your way to dodge it. But, like, you can definitely, like, if you're just rushing through, like, you might just freaking miss it just without even thinking. Because you just don't care. Because you have to catch a frog, too. It's not like catching the frog is, like, obvious. You can see Quenna, but that doesn't mean you're necessarily going to know how to recruit Quenna. You know what I mean? It's probably low enough that he's going to use his big old spell, if I had to guess. Yeah, there. Look at that. Wham! Just smacks us off like 100 damage. So imagine you're at this point in the fight and you don't have water stuff. You just did 200 damage to everyone. Just like 2-hit everyone, and like if he does it again on his next turn, he just obliterates you. Not all the while he's countering everything you do by either smacking or silencing your mages. It's like, he's brutal. Like, he's such a simple boss, but he's simple and, you know, effective, right? That's what makes it, like, at this point in the fight, you do not fall into the trap of trying to heal, basically. At this point, you just need to blitz him down, get him killed, because he's at a third of his health now, so, like, I think I'll have about 1,000 health left. Like, at this point, you just want to kill him. Now, there's Silent Voice. Hey, we'll actually hit this time, and we'll actually see that it silences. Like, it's so funny that it missed the first time. Like, that's really unlikely, because it's base 100 accuracy, so it's really low chance to miss. Bam! Wow, that killed him? Jeez. Yeah, there you go. Alright, so I'm going to cut back to fighting Gizamaluke again and kind of show up some useful strategies with him. So yeah, be right back. So, up until this point, we've had, we haven't really had access to status effects, but this is like the first major boss where it's like you have like regular access to status effects that actually do stuff to the boss, right? Because Gizamaluke is tough, but they do give you, you know, some useful tricks for him. So first of all, he's vulnerable to both blind and silence. And we have access to both of those, right? You can silence him with either the Mage Masher, or you can silence him with either the Butterfly Sword, and you can also blind him with our Ogre Blade that we have. We didn't have either because we're still using the Mithril Dagger. We were still using the Mithril Dagger for this fight. But the thing is, there's actually another thing you can do to, you know, inflict those status effects. And it may be, you know, a lot of people often don't realize exactly what this is, how this works, or like what this. I shouldn't say they don't know how it works. Like, they don't know. No, actually, here. Let me pause for a sec. Okay, we're back. So, basically, you know, you can see all the items we have in our inventory here, and these are all usable, right? So you may have noticed something that stands out from the usable item list, and that is tents. Tents are usable in battle in this game. They restore HP and MP. If you use a tent in battle, it'll restore 50% of that character's HP and NP. But the thing is with tents is that there's a funny little mechanic with tents. So you can use tents on enemies too. So you can see, Quinn will throw a tent at this dude, and we'll see what happens here. Bitten by silence, darkness, poison, snake. There is a 50% chance when you use a tent on someone that they are bitten by a snake that inflicts, you know, those status effects. Thus, by throwing a tent at Gizamaluke here, we have blinded and silenced him in one action. Which, as you can imagine, for the cheap price of 800 gil, pretty useful for what is, you know, one of the harder bosses in the game. And now, not only is he unable to ever use water, he has less than a 50% chance to use his, he's a 50% chance to miss by default with his crash attack, plus, you know, our evasion and stuff. And we can't miss him anymore with our physical attack, so we can just wail on him. He's still not, like, he's not nothing at this point, because, obviously, like, he can still hit us roughly half the time. But obviously that's only if he, you know, if he uses a physical attack. We can't get hit by water all, it's like, he's not really a threat anymore, but he's not nothing, basically. Which is, you know, this is a really cool little, like, this is unique to this game. I don't believe tents are usable in battle in any other Final Fantasy game. And it's kind of a funny, although he still hit us, that's funny. But you probably noticed, right, when we used a tent on him, right, it healed, like, 9,999 HP. And that's because of the way that bosses in this game work, basically. So, bosses have an HP, I believe Gizamaluke has exactly 3,175 HP off the top of my head. That sounds right. However, obviously, 9,999 HP is a lot more than half his HP. And that is because bosses, at least bosses that are, like, immune to, like, traditional bosses, I should just say, in this game, don't work the same way that most enemies do. Basically, the way that most bosses work in this game is that they have their HP value, and then but they actually have 10,000 more HP than that by default. So technically, if Gizamaluke worked like regular bosses, I should say, he would have he'd have 10,000, or he'd have 13,175 HP, and that's why the tent heals more. And then basically the way it works is that when their HP goes below 10,000, they are like the game basically like starts running like the end battle script. It does it like this because otherwise, so like basically normally if you did that right, it would just run a normal death animation by default because that's just like how the game works. And then basically, but since, you know, most bosses don't have that, so instead, the way they get around that is by doing this trick. Like, as soon as its HP goes below 10,000, it basically just runs a script that tells it to, you know, do whatever end battle stuff it needs to do, like playing its death animation or whatever, and then the battle ends and you get your stuff or whatever. It's like this so you can do anything fancy too, like you can get like cutscenes after you kill stuff and all that jazz. Like, you know, like when we killed Black Waltz 2, right? He like shows like a thing where it starts writhing on the ground and goes, you know, why? And all that jazz. Now, obviously, you're still probably thinking, well, 9,999 HP is still a lot more than half of 1,300, right? And that's because Gizamaluke, once again, works differently than most other bosses. Gizamaluke, instead of having 10,000 more HP by default, instead, he actually has the normal 3,175 HP, but when the fight starts, his HP is automatically set to the absolute max HP that the game can have, which is, I believe, 65,635. No, it's 65,535, I believe, right? Yeah. So basically, 65,535 because that is the max. That is the max number you can put into an 8-bit number, basically. And then after its health is set to that number, it takes the original HP value of 3,175, minuses it from that, and then the game tells it when the max number minus its HP value is reached, then it kills it dies. And this is actually where I first even thought about the whole concept of, well, it's different because somebody else did it and it just, it works the same, so that's how it's done. From working on this game and like modding it, I remember being confused by that, because if you look at its number internally, right, it has a normal HP value unlike most bosses, but that script handles that, and that was just like, it was so mind-opening to me, because I don't know, it's just kind of a weird little detail. And I just thought this is a great boss to like do that on, because like so much with this boss is like he seems like such a normal boss, but then under the hood he has all these weird things with him, and it's a great place. It teaches you about both the HP thing, about how bosses work, and also I can show off tents as looking really goofy. So yeah, if I use a tent on Zidane, there's a good chance, like it's 50-50 if you're infected. Obviously though, like there's ways around it, right? Because like if you use a tent on Zidane, right, and he gets inflicted by a status effect, obviously if you really need to, right, you can just quickly throw a remedy on Zidane. He's immune to blind though, which is why obviously if you just equip status immunity, you can basically use tents for like really, like they're really useful, because that's basically a buyable healing item that heals both HP and MP in one swoop. And as long as you have some basic status immunity, it's not even like an issue. Not to mention it's 50-50, so you could always just get lucky if you really wanted to. But yeah, that's kind of just a funny little thing with this. You know what? We're gonna do one more thing actually. So let's... we can actually do this in this fight if we get lucky. Let's KO Quina here, basically. We want Quina to die, but we want to basically use a Phoenix down on Quina, and we want them to get healed to 1 HP. It's Phoenix Downs heal anywhere from 1 to 9 HP, so it's like a 1 in 10 chance. But we have more than 10 Phoenix Downs, so we should be able to hopefully... Oh, come on, Quina. We should get lucky, presumably. Really? A double dodge, you psychopath? There's other ways to get around this trick, because, like, we'll see later. We don't have access to that right now, but Auto Life automatically heals you to 1 HP, so this is a useful trick. There we go. Now, as long as he doesn't get killed... Yeah, can't cast. So, remember how we learned Limit Glove earlier? By the way, I believe... This isn't confirmed, but I think... Oh. Causes non-elemental damage to the target when your HP is 1. I forgot that it's mentioned here. For some reason, the out-of-battle one... Oh, no, wait. I'm stupid. No, it mentions it in both places. So, yeah. Limit Glove is probably... it's not guaranteed, but it's probably a mistranslation. It's probably supposed to be Limit Globe. Because when you use Limit Glove at 1 HP, God, tongue-tied. When you use it at 1 HP, this is what happens. You see like this fancy looking globe kind of surround the enemy, which is why it's probably supposed to be Limit Glove, or globe, but you know. Bam! 9,999 damage. Insta-killed the boss. You can basically use Limit Glove to cheese, like, basically every boss for the next, like, how long, because none of them have that much HP. And this is an excellent trick for, like, speedrunning and stuff. I actually don't know if they use this trick during speedruns, because getting Limit Glove is not easy, right? You have to go out of your way to get it from, what did we even get it from? I forget. We got it from the, I don't even remember, because there's so many enemies. Did we get it from the Vices give Vanish, the Ladybugs give Pumpkinhead. Did we get it from the Axe Beak? That must be, yeah, that's why, because you have to go, like, you know, out of your way to go get it. And I think speedrunners just kind of ignore that and just book it and just kill Gizamaluke the normal way, because you can just throw a tent at him and you just kill him that way. So yeah, Gizamaluke's fun like that. So if you're curious, first of all, I believe the menu says it's Bowden Gate. If we try to leave here, I must act natural. Yeah, he says the same thing. Steiner gets, I think that's kind of funny. He's just like, I must act natural, because it's like, it'd be weird if he just walked in here and left, because, you know, what kind of person does that, you know? Definitely doesn't happen to, like, every RPG character ever, because they just get controlled by a player who's an idiot and just forgets. If you try to walk down here beforehand, he just says, I must get rid of them before I go into the alley. And yeah, you can see here, like, you can't climb this ladder. I cannot climb like this. I also, last thing, right, yeah, talk to this guy. Answer. Indeed, yeah, like, the only thing that happens if you remain silent is, like, Garnet inside the bag just, like, thumbles at you. Which is kind of funny. Actually, is that everything? You can talk to this guy now. Just show off, oh yeah, don't kill. I must tolerate him for the sake of the princess. I think that's it. Yeah, I'd like to leave, but I intend to work hard, and then you can tell him. And yeah, like, at any time you try to walk in here when they're both here, right, and then he'll just says, I must get rid of them, right? It says the same thing, basically. Yeah, I think that's it for everything. I can't think of anything I missed. Talked about the Lamia, Gizamaluke, all the other stuff. Yeah, so yeah, see you guys later.